So far in this series, we have been writing Python code step by step. That's fine when examples are small, but real data work is repetitive. You apply the same logic to many values, many files, and many datasets. If you don't structure your code early, things get messy fast. That's why today we are learning functions, the right way, the way they are actually used in data work. A function is a named block of logic. You define it once and you reuse it everywhere. Let's understand basic function structure. I am in VS Code. First, I will define a basic function using the def keyword. This keyword is used to create a function. I will name the function greet. Its job is to print a simple message in the terminal. Inside the function, the code must be indented. Just like if else, every line that belongs to the function stays inside this indented block. Now I will add a print statement. It will display "Hello, welcome to Python" on the screen. Let's run the program. Nothing appears in the terminal. That's expected. Right now the function is only defined. It's not called. A function does nothing on its own. Its code stays in memory until you explicitly call it. Now I will call the function by writing greet. Let's run the code again. As you can see, "Hello, welcome to Python" is printed on the screen. This is how function definition and function calls work in Python. Now let's say we want the greeting to include a name. Instead of hard coding the name inside the print statement, we want the function to work for any user. For that, we pass input to the function. This input is called a parameter. I will define a new function called greetUser. It will take one parameter, name. Inside the function, I will print hello along with the name. Now let's call the function. Since greetUser expects a value, we must pass one while calling it. I will pass Aksa as the name. Let's run the code. The output is "Hello Aksa" exactly as expected. To be clear, name is the parameter, Aksa is the argument. This pattern shows up everywhere in data work. Functions take input, process it, and produce output. In some cases, printing is not enough. We want to pass input to a function and get a result back. For that, we use return statements. A return statement sends a value back from the function. We can store that value in a variable or use it later. Let's define a function called calculateAverage. It takes a list of numbers as input. To calculate the average, we use sum to get the total of the numbers. We use len to get how many values are in the list. Both sum and len are built-in Python functions. They are part of the language, so we can use them directly. The formula is simple, sum divided by len. We will store the result in a variable called average and return it from the function. There is one edge case we must handle. If the list is empty, dividing by 0 will cause an error. So at the start of the function, we check if the length of the list is 0, return 0. Now let's call the function with this list. We store the returned value and print it. Let's run the code. The output is correct. Now let's test the edge case. We pass an empty list. This time the function returns 0. And 0 is printed on the terminal. Every real project documents its function, not just for others, for your future self as well. In Python, we do this using docstrings. A docstring is written right below the function definition. It explains what the function does and what kind of input it expects. Docstrings are defined using three double quotes. Let's add a docstring to our function. This function calculates the average of a list of numbers and expects a list with numeric values. Docstrings are important because they clearly explain the purpose of the function, help teammates understand the code faster, and work with IDEs, linters, and documentation tools. In real data work, unclear code slows everything down. This function expects a list and a containing numbers. If you pass strings, mixed types, and wrong structure, it will fail. Functions assume clean input unless you handle it. Let's write another function called isValidPrice. This function takes a price as input and returns whether the price is valid or not. A valid price is any value greater than 0. Now let's use this function. Assume we have a list of prices. We want to check each price and print whether it is valid or invalid. For this, we use a for loop. For each price in the list, we call isValidPrice function. Store the result in a variable called isValid. If isValid is true, we print price is valid. Otherwise, we print price is invalid. Now let's run the code. The output is 100 is valid, minus 20 is invalid, and 300 is valid. This is exactly what we expect. This is very common in data pipelines. Sometimes a function needs parameters, but in some cases we want the function to assume a value if nothing is provided. This is where default parameters are used. Let's say we want a function to apply a discount. If no discount is passed, it should assume a default discount of 10. We can do this using optional parameters. Let's define a function called applyDiscount. It takes two parameters, price and discount, with a default value of 10. Inside the function, we calculate the discounted price and return the updated value. Now let's use this function. First we call it with a price of 100 and do not pass any discount. We store the result in updated price and print it. The output is 90 because the function used the default discount of 10. Next, we call the same function again, this time passing a discount value of 20. We store the result in updated discount and print it. The output is 80 because this time the pass discount overrides the default value. This is how default parameters work in Python. Defaults make functions flexible. As programs grow, we need a clear starting point. Functions contain logic. Something still needs to decide what runs first and in what order. That is the role of main function. Without main function, code runs from top to bottom as soon as the file is opened. This quickly becomes messy when files get longer or when the same file is reused elsewhere. By putting execution inside main function, all flow stays in one place. Functions can be reused without running automatically. The script is easier to read and debug. Defining main function alone does nothing. To actually run it, we use this if statement. This line means run the program only when this file is executed directly and do nothing when the file is imported into another script. This pattern keeps code predictable and reusable. That is why main function is important. Now let's combine everything we wrote in this video and use main function as the entry point. First we define the helper functions. Calculate average, is valid price, and apply discount. These functions contain logic only. They should not run on their own. Next we define the main function. Inside main, we define a list of numbers, calculate the average using calculate average, and print the result. Then we define a list of prices. For each price, we check if it is valid using isValidPrice. If the price is valid, we apply a discount using applyDiscount. If not, we print that the price is invalid. Now the flow of the program is clear. All execution happens inside main function. Finally, we run the program using this if statement. This line ensures main function runs only when the file is executed directly. Now let's step back and simplify everything you just learned into one clear mental model. Functions is logic, parameters is input, return is output, docstrings is explanation, and main function is the control center. If you understand this video, you are no longer writing basic function, you are writing structured and reusable code. In the next video, we will learn about truthy, falsy, and null values. Thanks for watching. I am Aksa Zafar, and on MLTude, I teach data science and machine learning in a simple step-by-step way. Practice a little and I will see you in the next video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to MLTude for more AI and machine learning tutorials.